Hey, yo, what's up guys? Mr. Kaijurix here again doing another video for you guys today. In today's video, we're going to be doing another Godzilla figure review, and it's going to be on the recently released Godzilla 1971 from the Bandai Movie Monster series. Here's the tag that comes on the figure. Got a nice picture of Godzilla firing his atomic breath, Godzilla 1971, as well as Godzilla in English. Right there we have the 1962 suit, as well as Godzilla 2025 right there. On the inside, we got pretty much everything we're used to seeing on a Bandai tag, Godzilla silhouette, as well as Godzilla 1971, and probably some stuff right here that tells you about Godzilla. Godzilla emblem right there. On the back of the tag, we got the cutout to his dorsal plates, and right here it says Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus Hedorah. You know what? Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. Movie Monster series in English and as well as in Japanese. Bandai Godzilla. And the thing that I love about this tag is that it actually has the correct picture of the Godzilla it's supposed to be representing. Because if you remember on the original Movie Monster series, Godzilla 1968, which is what this figure is, basically, it had a picture of the 1973 suit from Godzilla vs. Megalon, which was obviously the incorrect suit. So I'm glad this time around they fixed it by putting Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Hedorah. And I know a lot of Godzilla fans like to keep their tags on the figures. I like to take them off because I do like to take photos of my figures. And yeah, so before anyone attacks me and tells me like, oh, you're not a true Godzilla fan because you don't keep the tags on, this is just how I collect things, okay? You like to keep your tags on your figures? That's great. Now this figure is pretty much a retool of the Movie Monster series 2006 Godzilla 1968, which was a retool of the Memorial Box Godzilla 1968. But they did make some alterations to this figure to differentiate it from those other two figures. In fact, let me just do a quick comparison real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Here's the original Bandai Godzilla 1968, which is a really great figure. It still is to this day. It looks very accurate to the suit, and it's a very sought after figure nowadays. So I'm glad that Bandai decided to basically re-release it, but like I said, with some really nice modifications to it that I think definitely improves the look of this figure. Because I did have some issues with this figure. One of those in particular was the color. I do like the charcoal black vinyl, but I feel like the gray on this figure makes a world of a difference, at least to me, and looks more accurate to the suit because Godzilla is definitely charcoal gray in the movies. And I think this basically just looks so much better on this figure, and I think it does improve the mold altogether. Another thing that I like that they did change from the original figure is the position of the arms. Because the arms on this one, I always felt they did look a little awkward with how they're kind of splayed out like this. It kind of reminded me of, let me just bring this in so I can give you guys an example, of the Bandai America Mechagodzilla 1974 with the way the arms are spread out. That's pretty much what I took issue with this because it just looks a little awkward. I mean, I get why they did it because he does kind of move his arms up like this a lot in the movies that featured this suit. But with them being close to the side on this figure, it honestly does look a lot better. It doesn't look as awkward, and like I said, it just improves the look a lot, at least to me. Another change that I like that they did on this figure was the way they painted the inside of the mouth. Because as you guys can see on this one, there's a lot of pink in there, and it kind of droops over a bit too much. This might actually be movie accurate, I'm not too sure, but the way the paint was done on here, it looked good at the time, but now it just kind of seems a little excessive in my opinion. In fact, I got some like drooping down right there. And on this figure, they basically kind of minimized that and kept most of the color on the inside of the mouth, like where the gums are and the teeth with the tongue. And it doesn't go onto the lip, which looks really nice. Like I said, I think it very much does improve the look of this figure. I do have some coming on the bottom lip as well, but nonetheless, it looks pretty good. Another thing that I like that they did differently on this mold was the color of the dorsal plates. On this one, they were kind of like this weird grayish, kind of bluish color, which was a little too dark in my opinion, and it didn't really stand out as well as I thought it could have. I mean, mine does have some paint scuffs on it because it's second-handed. But this one goes for the bone white color, and I love the way they applied it onto here. It just looks really nice and looks accurate to the suit. Now, they don't go down all the way to the end of the tail, but this one kind of doesn't either. And they didn't add any of those highlights on the knees. As you guys can see, they're not on here, whereas right here, they were very much apparent. I really do like this figure a lot, but this one just improves it a little more. I mean, the only thing that I wish they did keep on this figure that they didn't, like a little white dot in the center of the pupil right there. I really do like that a lot. It kind of gives Godzilla that classic look that he had in the Showa series. Whereas this one, they're glossy and light does reflect it on it pretty well, but kind of just how it looks, it doesn't have the same effect like this one does, where from a distance you can kind of see it and it kind of gives it more life. But that's just like a small little nitpick. But aside from those differences, they're pretty much the exact same figure. And like I said, I'm glad that Bandai decided to re-release this mold because it does give me a chance to talk about it, because I really do think this is a good representation of how Godzilla looked from Destroy All Monsters all the way up until Godzilla vs. Gigan. And the details on this figure are really nicely done. Love the way they did the face. Looks very accurate to the suit. Love the way they sculpted the teeth. The details on the neck. Looks really good. Here's the resculpted arms. And the way they're sculpted really does improve the look of the figure for me. The chest looks really nice. Got the chest plate that goes down from here all the way to his stomach. Got the folds in the skin. The legs look really good. Feet look accurate to the suit. And I really do love the details on the dorsal plates. And the paint job, like I said, just brings out those details a lot better. It just improves the look of this figure, like I keep saying. And there's the details on the tail, the underside. It's the copyright information on the bottom of the feet. And like I said, the changes on it, although they're minor, does differentiate it from the original figure. So you can say that this is a variation of the Godzilla suit scene from 1968 all the way until 1972. And the thing that I love that Bandai did with their memorial box Showa Godzilla figures is the way they did the lower body and the way they engineered the articulation gives the look that the Showa Godzilla had, because he did have a distinctive look on his lower body that they did do on a lot of their figures. To give an example, here's the 1964 Godzilla memorial box mold. This is a bootleg. The way they engineered the legs does carry that look that the Showa Godzilla had. This makes them look a lot more accurate to how they looked in the movie. I do like the new paint job done on it. The base color for the vinyl is the gray color. There's white on the claws right here, as well as on the toes. On the face, they're done on the eyes and the teeth and the red in the mouth. I do have some paint hairs, as you guys can see. There's like specks of white on the face and on other parts of its body. Then the white on the dorsal plates looks really nice. So yeah, overall, I really do like this figure. Now really quickly to go through the articulation, since it's pretty much the same as the original figure. The arms can rotate, the legs can rotate as well, but because of the way they were engineered to look more suit accurate, they don't really rotate all the way. And the tail's on a Glicio, which I'm going to leave alone because it really wouldn't add anything other than an unnecessary point of articulation. And now to compare it to some other figures that I have in my collection. Here it is compared to some other 6-inch scale Godzilla figures, such as the Bandai 1954 Godzilla and the Bandai 1992 Godzilla. This is just to show that they fit in the 6-inch scale. Here it is compared to the Playmates Showa Rodan from the first Rodan movie. As you guys can see, scale looks pretty good on these two. Rodan was a little bit taller than Godzilla from what I remember in the Showa series, so this would work well. Here it is compared to the closest thing that I have to a 6-inch scale Gorosaurus, and that is the Marusan Gorosaurus, which, as you guys can tell, it's not really good scaling. This figure is a little too tall and a little too stylized. I don't have that many Showa monsters, so the next one I'm going to compare it to is going to be way out of scale, but it's just to show how they look together. And that is going to be the Mondo Gabra figure, which, as you guys can tell, he's a little too tall. He's way out of scale. I did do a funny little skit with this figure, so if you guys want to go check out that video, I'll leave a card up right now. Here's the figure that I bought to go alongside this Godzilla, the Bandai Color Renewal Hedorah 1971. Scaling looks pretty good between these two. I can also review this figure if you guys want me to. Here it is compared to my original Hedorah figure, and that's the Bandai America one. Scaling looks good with these two. Here we have the Showa Gigan by Bandai. Looks really good as well. And since this was the exact same suit that was used in the movie, you can use these two for your display as well. And for some other Showa monster comparisons, I'll bring in my Sega Showa Gamera and my Bandai Ultraman from the 500 series. Now, these three look really good together if you wanted to use them in like a Showa style video with these three characters. I think it would look really good. Here it is compared to another representation that I have of Godzilla 1971 in my collection, and that is the CCP Godzilla 1971, which can't really fit into frame. There we go. two totally different figures, but it's the same iteration of the same Godzilla. And much like with Hedorah, I can review this figure if you guys want me to. And for a final comparison, I'll bring back in the original Bandai Godzilla 1968 from 2006, as well as the Bandai America sculpt of Godzilla 1968. This is the Bandai EX one where they made improvements to the paint to make it look better, but all in all, it's the exact same figure. Now, which one out of these three is my favorite? I would say that this newer figure is definitely my favorite out of these three. This one comes to be my second favorite. It might just be because I've been buying a lot of Safubi figures that I like the stylized look of this one, and also for nostalgic reasons because I had this one when I was a kid. So I'd say this one is definitely my second favorite, and this one's still a good figure, but definitely my favorite, second favorite, and then third favorite. Very glad that Bandai decided to re-release this mold, as it gives people a chance to basically get this figure once more, done in a way that I think is definitely an improvement over the original. I do like the way the paint job looks. The detail, like I said, is great, and the differences that they made just make this figure all the more better, at least in my opinion. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as I mentioned before, if you'd like me to review any of the figures that I featured in this video that I haven't looked at already, go ahead and let me know down below. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and look forward to some more reviews. This is Mr. Kai Direct signing off. Stay awesome.